Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
And good evening. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com. And this is Lucy, the Critical Blast pug, who decided that she's going to spend some time in here with me tonight. So we are starting late, but that's okay. We roll with the punches here at Critical Blast, and we, had one thing scheduled. It kind of fell through. We scheduled something else and got it pushed through in a hurry. So we are here to push more crowdfunded comics your way, stuff you might not have heard of, and also stuff that's a little different from comics. We have with us tonight John Durgan, the writer of Joel. I hope I'm saying that correctly.
I should have warned you ahead of time because that's how everyone says it initially. I said it that way initially when the title was proposed to me. It's Yule, like Yuletide.
Yule.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so my co-creator, Joel Van Patten, he'll tell the joke that he did not name it after himself. When I started writing this, I had it titled Trapped at the North Pole, and I said that's a loose title, it's not locked in, and he came up with Yule, and the idea was one syllable, something simple for kids, although I'm sure kids are going to say Joel, but...
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's pronounced Yule. It's tied into the Christmas theme, if you will.
It makes perfect sense. I have to pass that one along to my buddy Yule Carter down there at Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California. He'll appreciate having something with his name on it. He'll have to put him in the store now. We also have Rusty Gilligan, comic book industry veteran. Yes, there he is.
How's it going, guys?
Rusty?
Awesome.
What are you guys up to tonight?
I have no idea yet. I'm doing this with zero prep time, and y'all just, answered the bat signal. Say, hey, we have an open slot. Who wants it?
Yeah.
I was anxious to talk to the dog. What happened?
Oh, Lucy doesn't like to sit on a lap very long. She's 28 pounds, and it makes her feel self-conscious when somebody's holding her because she.
You could tell the truth. It's union rules, right?
Yes, it absolutely is. Before we get too deep into this, I just want to give a quick shout out to Topher Lee. You know where you are, you know who you are. Topher was on the posted a message on Twitter yesterday that His life was in quite a bit of turmoil to the point that he had considered ending it. And a lot of people found out and started ringing up the police in his hometown. They found him not at home. They found him hidden somewhere in his car, so with his phone off. So there was no way to really track him down, but they did. He had taken some pills, and he is now better and knows that people care about him. So Topher, you've got a follower now. If you need to talk to somebody, we're all here. Reach out and do that anytime you need us. That out of the way, let's talk about some comic books. So we played the video for Yule, and right off the bat, I'm just gonna address the elephant in the room, John. Yeah. We're gonna get a Christmas book in spring.
It's summer. Is that the
it's crowdfunding in summer. It's gonna pass right over Christmas, and we're gonna get it in the spring.
Yeah. So the thing is this is a 5-book story arc. So the initial plan before all these shipping delays was to have all 5 books done before Christmas this year, so we could put out a nice graphic novel of all 5 issues together for Christmas time. Now, Joel is more than halfway done issue 2, but unless these shipping delays pick up, I mean, it's initially we were quoted 7 to 10 days to get books. It ended up taking 45 days for us to get a promo copy to check it over, make sure there was nothing wrong with it. And he just got the large shipment in today. Before Kickstarter, we actually did a collector's edition for friends, family, and Joel's art followers, and we sold out back in March, I think. And these poor people are waiting here we are, end of July, and they still haven't gotten their books. So the book's been done. We told people early May is when book 1 would be done. It's been done since early May, but shipping, so.
All right. So when it's what am I looking at here? Why did I think we're shipping in spring? Why in the world did I think we're shipping in spring? It's shipping in August. They will get this before Christmas.
Oh yes. And when it said, the trailer said in spring. Oh, again, we initially planned on this past spring. So the book was done in spring, but that's what the delays were causing the issue on, is getting it out. So
well, you know what? I think that's probably a better thing, because now it's going to come out closer to Christmas time.
Yeah.
Lucy, please stop. Be a professional pug. Oh. There is a secret cabal of squirrels with a plan to take over the world, and she's keeping guard against them. They run around the house.
That sounds like a 5-issue book.
You're right.
She knows that they get inside to the router, they're going to send the secret message to the rest of the squirrels that attack now or something. So she's not going to let that happen. Got Pops Van Zant in the chat, without whom none of this would have happened. Pops put out the pop signal, and that's how y'all responded. So always appreciate Pops and his contributions to helping you crowdfunders get spotted here.
Absolutely.
So the video, the graphics in the video, it looks like it's a kind of a dark story. Is it horror, or is it like kids level horror like Gremlins was?
Yeah, I would say, so the idea behind the story, the backstory to this whole thing is, my son is 7. I actually started writing this as a novel back in December of 2019, so a while back there. And it all started because it was Christmas night, and I was putting him in the bed, and I just was asking him if it was his favorite day, and he said Halloween was. So I'm like, well, why do you like Halloween more than Christmas? And he said, because I like being scared. And his favorite movie is Ghostbusters. He also loves Nightmare Before Christmas, so kids level horror type stuff, right? But so I'm always trying to think of ideas for writing, and my wheels started spinning. How can I make Christmas scary but not like terrorize kids, and also make it family friendly, so that the grown-ups, the parents, will want to read it as well? It's not it's not going to be like all gumdrops and rainbows or anything like that. I mean, it's obviously, you see in the trailer it gets dark, but
it doesn't have to be Christmas sleigh or anything like that,
right? Yeah. And there's no Krampus, it's nothing like that, but there's no cursing or gore, but there's a little bit of blood. Just, you'll see in issue 1, it's nothing major, but we wanted to really have a wide target audience and make this something that would be fun to, get scared reading to your kids, without giving them nightmares. So that's where the idea started. I started thinking of ideas, and then, it popped in my head, what if a kid got trapped at the North Pole, but it was on like the outskirts, and there was this like area that no one's ever talked about, no one's ever seen in movies or anything, that was just this creepy area surrounding the North Pole, and there's these creatures in the woods, and this kid gets stranded there. How would he get there, right? And that's obviously what I came up with later. But so that's where the whole idea, spun from. And I wanted to make the kid around my son's age, and I actually named the main character after him. So he tells everyone that he's a comic book character. He actually asked me the other day, is Will going to be the most popular name in the world now? And I'm like, I don't know if my comic book's going to be that popular, buddy. But
why not?
Yeah.
Shoot for the moon.
Yeah.
Oh.
But so that's where it all started. And then, I started writing an outline. I started writing it as a novel. Book 1, the story for book 1, I essentially had written in novel form. Poor Joel, my co-creator, I had no idea how to write comic script. This is my first ever comic. So I basically copy and pasted the novel form and was sending it to him. I didn't have any idea how to picture panels or anything. So I still to this day don't know if that pissed him off or if he actually liked the freedom of just coming up with everything. But
you know what? There's like 17 different ways to write a comic script.
Yeah.
Everything from Stan Lee looking over at Jack and saying, Spider-Man fights Doc Ock after a bank robbery. Do it. To Alan Moore's page 1, panel 1, upper left-hand corner. The light is coming from the lower left. The rain is falling straight down, except in one place. You've got free range
Right.
when you do it. But yeah, I love scary Christmas stories. I mean, the last book that Critical Blast published, because hey, we're a book publisher too. Was The Devil You Know, was an anthology of short stories, and we had a great short story in there from a submission that was set at Christmas, and it was Santa is an anagram, and he took all the Christmas tropes and found horror in them, and found certain keys in them that I was like, I'll never look at it the same again.
Yeah.
And if you like that kind of thing, there's a link in the description way down about the stuff that we link to. The first links, of course, are going to be to Yoel and to The Earth Trembles, because Rusty, guess what? We've got you on here too. If I can find my mouse cursor to talk about The Earth Trembles, which is also funded. Congratulations! It's funded 3 times.
Yeah, we're at 313% right now, and we still have about a month to go.
That's fantastic. So have you got enough dinosaur teeth to make this happen? I mean, you're gonna have to kill some more.
Well, there's what we have in the set, which is really kind of cool, is it's called a relic card. And wow, look at that! I'm losing my audience already. Jeez. He sat there and listened to your story, and then when it comes to me, hey, it's time to mow the lawn. Let's get up.
The advantage of not having headphones on, I can go close the door.
No, I'm just kidding.
And still here.
Yeah, well, now it's just lost all its appeal. So, anyway, in the set, there's what's called a relic card. So attached to 100 of the cards is an actual megalodon tooth. We made a deal with a fossil vendor that's in Florida, and on the other cards in the set, the other relic cards, they're dinosaur and fossil postage stamps from all over the world. So normally, with my studio, I mean, I have a giant comic background and I've been doing comics for years, but we started doing trading card sets, and we've had a lot of great success. My last set went almost 700%, which was really good. And the set before that was almost 400%. So we're hoping that this set takes off a little bit more. It's got an educational value to it, as well as a commercial appeal. every set comes with a sketch card from a comic book or trading card artist, and the sketch cards are really cool. What's that?
And you have a ton of artists that have lined up for this.
Every time I do something, it's like the old expression goes, when the train goes, everybody rides. I like to bring in friends and good people to work with us. We've had a lot of these people join us for our last 3 or 4 sets, which is really good. As you can see on the screen, the pictures in the card set are actually exhibits from all over the world. China, Russia, all over the United States. There's one from Afghanistan. They're literally dinosaur exhibits, so they're live. They look like live dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to scroll down to this point here, because I didn't want people to think that they were getting a card set of dinosaur drawings, because this is while everyone loves dinosaurs drawn or otherwise, these photographs are actually what the front of the cards are, and you're going to get information on the location, on the dinosaur in question, and they do look like like you just went there and took a picture. You like you jumped into Ray Bradbury's A Distant Thunder, walked the path, snapped a picture, and came back.
Well, that was the idea for it in the beginning. When this is actually an idea that was maybe about 3 years old, and I've actually put out 3 different sets during the time of this formulation of this idea. But in the beginning, it was art, and then it molded itself and morphed itself into a story, and each card was going to be almost like a panel for a comic, or continued on the next card, as you could say. But this idea presented itself in a great fashion, and I thought it was kind of cool because the sketch cards show the artwork anyway. There was no point in duplicating the art, and kids are very impressionable. Everybody loves dinosaurs. Everybody loves the monster appeal, etc. So the books have facts and trivia, a couple of jokes. There's some, it's a pretty cool set. Good thing about it is it's all ages. Everything I do is all ages. I don't like to do anything adult. I think the industry went too far mature, and that totally blew me out of the water. I actually stopped collecting comics for a long time because I just thought the industry was like way too mature.
Yeah, the industry doesn't know how to handle success. If the industry puts a book out that spikes and is like, whoa, everybody bought this book that was different from everything else we regularly do. Let's make everything else we regularly do as the same as that different book.
Well, that's what happened. That's what happened in wrestling. It used to be that you would watch like a wrestler go against like a local guy. They would call them squash matches, and they'd have interviews and they'd have whatever. Every, I don't know, month they'd say, well, we're going to have a specialty match. A star jumps in against another star. What was the encore? Oh, well, we're going to do a bull rope match. The guys are tied by the wrist and they're fighting. Or we're going to do a steel cage. Or, oh, look, the fight went out into the parking lot. Now every show is a star versus a star. They're all specialty matches. The encores got stupider and stupider to the point where they can't even show the regular wrestling anymore. Everything has to have a spit and polish to it and shine, or people will tune out. And that pretty much killed the industry. I mean, it is popular now. It's found a new audience, but these people are coming in during the 10th encore. It's kind of like saying, which Batman did you grow up with? This is like the 10th encore, and they keep trying to outdo themselves. And because of the internet, the fans are more vicious. They're like, oh, one guy went up against another craphead. We don't really care about this match, then the next one. And it's like, wow, that was 2 big stars in like a steel cage match. If that doesn't, please you, what's going to happen,
Right.
So, and I think that happened in comics too.
It did. I mean, The Dark Knight Returns was great. But that doesn't mean that every book there afterwards had to be The Dark Knight Returns.
Right.
every time the comic book industry tries to grow its audience, they can't grow. They migrate. They take
Right.
everything and focus it toward a new segment and leave everybody behind. So as soon as The Dark Knight Returns came out, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, did you see the Robin costume? Somewhere in the history of Batman, Jason Todd dies." Well, guess what had to happen? Jason Todd now had to die.
Right.
And we all got to kill him.
And then look what happened recently. All the sex stuff that came up in the Batman comics.
Yeah, and well, that wasn't even in the comic. That was in the television show.
No, the one where what was it? Bruce Wayne was naked.
Oh yeah, and DC's trying to basically say, "Hey, we didn't approve that. We didn't know that was coming." Are you
Yeah.
are you actually admitting now that your editors do nothing?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
We already know that they don't, because if you look at Marvel and DC since the 90s, how many hidden words were there? How many hidden political messages have there been? Hidden sex stuff? How about all of the phallic references on the covers and the bondage looking stuff and on and on and on?
Oh yeah.
You know, obviously comics aren't just for kids, but the thing is that when you have a book you don't term it all ages. It's not termed as adult, so people think it's all ages, and you can get away with stuff. You know, I there have been times when I've gone back and looked at a book from the 60s and gone, "Oh my God, how did I miss that when I was, 10 years old?" It's like, "Oh my God, did Wonder Woman do that?"
Oh yeah. How many times did Wonder Woman get spanked or
Right.
spank another woman?
Right. Or the one where she's tied with chains, spread-legged on the rocket on the cover of the Wonder Woman comic in the 70s. I think it was an Ernie Chan cover. I don't know how many people bought that just for the cover alone. The story sucked, but how many people bought it just for the cover? And Linda Carter didn't make it any easier, because the minute she spun around and popped out, that was the end. It was like Jeannie's navel, or Samantha's nose twitch, or Dawn Wells, Marianne in the short shorts. Everybody wanted to see. So
I completely agree. And Robert Robertson in the chat says, "I'm surprised DC, for instance, hasn't been able to do a basic branding of their lines into segments. The adult line, the kids line, the girls line. DC, of all people, should be able to take advantage of their multiverse. I mean, there's no reason why, even when they had 52,
right?
If they wanted to try something, all they had to do was slap a new imprint on something.
Right.
They did it with Vertigo. Vertigo
that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted to do with the Elseworlds line. Everything was, take a chance, rewrite something, do something different. Marvel had What If, but it was more directed towards story, where Elseworlds was more directed towards a universe, and then both of them blew it. You could only
Elseworlds was a standalone, and I loved that.
Right.
But they had, for instance, they had the Charlton Heroes all on one world, and that world was a Watchmen-like world, which the Watchmen were based on the Charlton Heroes.
Right.
They could have kicked off a #1 and just changed, even if they just changed the color and the font of the DC bullet to let us know, hey, this isn't happening in standard world. This is this.
There's movie ratings and there's record album ratings. It could have gone a little bit farther. There's no more Comics Code Authority, but there could have been some sort of a rating or something. But even that, nobody adheres to it. Look at the grocery clerk is not going to look at a comic book cover and say like, hey, what's this for? Oh, 14 and older? Let me see your ID. That's
well,
that's
and the fact that grocery clerks aren't going to do that, and because Walmart doesn't want people to spend their time doing that,
right?
That's why they quit carrying them.
Right. Well, you know what? They went to the well too many times. That's what it is.
Yeah. They absolutely did. So playing back and forth here, ping pong with the project. I'm back over on Yule. I keep wanting to say Yule now. I will get it right. It's just Yule. It's like the Yule log. RJ, come on.
Beautiful art, by the way, dude.
Thanks. Yeah, Joel crushed it.
I enjoyed the video very much.
Thank you. We actually, so not to knock on Wonder Woman too much, because I know Wonder Woman 84 was not ideal, but the trailer looked good. So actually, the guy that he works for the studio that made the Wonder Woman 84 trailer. He
Wow.
went to high school with Joel, my co-creator, and we reached out to him to do the trailer. And literally all I did was I found the 2 songs, and I said I kind of picture it going from here to here, and he did the rest. He put it all together. He took the art, he put in the word cards, and he sent it to us.
He
He's
knocked
like,
it out of the park, dude.
yeah, thanks. He sent it to us. He's like, what changes do you want? And we're like, none. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't change a thing. And you know,
it was
you're
great.
right.
It was almost like it told a story on its own. And the good thing about something like that is the impression to the audience is they see the video, they read the book. It's almost like saying the video was like a number 0. And it was very appealing. This actually would be something I would read.
Cool. Yeah, that's we didn't want to give too much away. We did that reveal of that creature at the end, and we almost were hesitant on even that. But I'm like, well, we got to have that that ending, screenshot. So, but Joel has talked about this in some interviews we've done, where the art in the book progressively gets darker. So the first part of the book, before he's in this realm, is brighter colors, the Christmas colors. He's Christmas shopping for his dad, and then as soon as he gets into the realm, it just becomes darker. And
so you did a reverse Wizard of Oz.
Kind of, yeah, for book 1. Hopefully, the end of the series, right? He writes the ship, but 2, I didn't really talk about the concept too much outside of where I came up with the idea, but it follows an 8-year-old who is Christmas shopping for his dad. He is in this antique shop. He's buying his dad a record, but he finds this cube on the back of a shelf for $1, a junk shelf, and he buys it. The cube is known as the Kasi, which is an ancient artifact that Santa Claus once used to suspend time so he could deliver gifts around the world in a single night. And it also time travels and can swap dimensions and so forth. It has a lot of powers in it. So
that's better than releasing Pinhead.
So side note there, I have to say this because I'm a horror junkie, so no one's going to really believe this, but I've never seen the Hellraiser movies, and that we had multiple people say, did you get the cube design based off Hellraiser? And I was like, no, and I looked it up. I'm like, no one's going to believe that that's not where that came from. That looks almost identical. I just pictured this cube with a glass eye hole in the center where he holds it up to his head, and yeah, so it is what it is, but I guess, people don't have to believe me. I guess I could say it inspired me either way, right? But
yeah, they can call it a TARDIS too if they want. So
right. So he ends up taking the device home. He leaves the dinner table. His parents are in a fight, and he has anger issues, which plays into the plot later on in the series. But he activates the device accidentally in a fit of rage. He kicks his backpack, and it activates it, and it ends up teleporting him to this dimension between home and the North Pole, known as the Realms. And he just wakes up in this field, and he doesn't know where he is, and he's surrounded by woods, and it's a snowstorm, and he hears these noises in the forest, sees these creepy eyes staring back at him, and that's really what launches it, right? So he gets into this world, and the story follows him as he tries to basically get back home, but also get the Kasi to safety before the villain, which will be revealed in later issues, gets the Kasi himself. He's coming for it. He knows it's back into the realms because he has his ways and he wants possession of it. So I really wanted a story that was themed around Christmas, not just took place at Christmas time. Like, I wanted it rooted into Christmas. So not only taking place around the North Pole, but tie in Santa Claus somehow, and the thought of suspending time to deliver gifts just made so much sense. So so we went with that, and it also opens up to make it such a bigger world, for the series. Joel came on, and we've collaborated a ton on the overall plot to make it this huge universe that in my brain initially was just this kid getting lost at the North Pole, and here we are. So that's high level what it's about without giving too much away.
halfway to the North Pole. That is where Robert Roberts works. That's why he buys all his comics in digital when he's backing projects on our shows, because he's got no place to put long white boxes out there in the tundra working on the pipelines. So this is a series. So my first question on that's going to be, how big are the individual issues? Are they like standard floppies, or are they thicker than that?
So issue 1's 22 pages. That they're going to be at least that each issue, but there are probably going to be a couple issues that are bigger than that. It really depends on. I know where each book needs to end to get to the climax for book 5, and if it has to be told in more pages, we'll do more pages. But the outline is all planned out. So issue 2, which Joel is on page 14 right now for pencil and ink, that's going to be 22 pages as well. So
okay. And folks, this has got 12 hours to go on this one. This is the end of this campaign, and it's Kickstarter, so there's no in demand. Are you planning on rolling over to Indiegogo to try that market?
Not, I don't. We've been asked that, and it sounds great, in concept, but at the same time, it's been a grind these last 30 days. It's been great. Like, I would do it all over again, but we are halfway done issue 2. We're working on another series with a different artist titled Dead Ball, which we want that. So we have a con coming up in September. We want all 3 issues out: Yule 1, Yule 2, Dead Ball 1. So we really don't feel we can focus on another 30-day campaign.
Sure.
And with our pre-sales for the collector's edition plus Kickstarter, we're in a really good situation to just propel this series. I mean, we're basically, able to cover the prints of the next few issues. So.
Well, let's get at least 6 more backers on here so that we can have 100 backers even.
Yeah, really.
But bust through that by all means. But get it up over, get it to the 100 and then over that. So the different. This is what I hate about Kickstarter. It scrolls in 5 different places.
Oh, that's a pain.
Yeah, I actually prefer Indiegogo. I've had problems with Kickstarter in the past. Everything I've ever done on Indiegogo has gone over 100, and stuff on Kickstarter, it's just such a hard labor. The good thing about Indiegogo is if you're on Kickstarter and let's say you need $1,000 for a project, if you get $9.99.99, it's blown.
Yeah.
But if you're on Indiegogo and you only get $1, you get it.
Right.
So
if you set it up that way on Indiegogo, if you say
obviously there's settings, but when you do a Kickstarter, you should always figure in what your base is, like what your base need is.
Yeah.
Then you should give yourself a percentage of overrun, and then you should give yourself a percentage of slush, and that'll give you your base. That'll give you your base price to advertise to the public. And, you should never start it with the intent of, I'm going to deliver in September 1st. If you think you're going to deliver it in September 1st, no problem. Do it, mark it as November shipping, because that way when you're early, they talk good about you. And if you're on time, they can't say anything bad about you. So it's just like when, as an art director, I'll tell somebody, I need everything in by June 1st when my actual deadline is August. And then, they'll come to me and say, I need a little bit of time. All right, I guess you could have till July. That's okay. Go ahead. And you look like a hero. But the funny thing is, you're just being smart.
It's like that scene. It's like that scene out of The Next Generation when they find Scotty trapped in that little transporter loop to explain how he survived all that time, and Picard tells Geordi LaForge, like, I need how long to do something. He's like, it'll be 4 hours, sir. And they walk off, and Scotty's like, how long did it really take? It'll take 4 hours. What's wrong with you, lad?
Right. Never tell them at the real time. I had an editor a long time ago that used to say the hot dog shouldn't be longer than the bun. So kind of the same thing.
Yeah. He said you always double it and add 10%, and then you do it in the amount of time it really takes, and you look like a miracle worker.
Right.
So now the secret was out on that one. I learned something else that you can do with Indiegogo this past week, Rusty, and I had Kara Nicole on, and I was looking at some of her past projects, and I asked her the secret to her leap in success, because she would do these pinup books. I said, like, here's 2018 and here's 2019. You went from 3,000 to 6,000 to 35,000.
Right. Yeah,
And I
she's
said,
great.
How did you make that big of a jump? What'd you do? She's like, well, I did it on Kickstarter at first. And then she started the Indiegogo campaign, and you can roll over your Kickstarter money to Indiegogo. So if you have made $1,000 on Kickstarter and that was all you needed, and you start an Indiegogo campaign, you say, I need $1,000 to make this one funded. Boom, you start funded. And now the algorithms like on Indiegogo saying, wow, that funded fast. Let's put this on the front page and show everybody how popular this thing is. That's kind of genius, but it takes like a couple of days. You can't just like end your Kickstarter and then turn on your Indiegogo. They've got to,
you have to time it right. Yeah.
The money's got to move and then they've got to approve it. And so it's a couple of days, but it's still an interesting way of doing it. So you get the digital edition of Yule. I'm still saying Yule. I'm going to quit looking at the title and just remember it. Not read it anymore. You can get the $5 for digital edition of Yule. There's no shipping on digital. So Robert, there you go. $5 digital edition right there. Let us know your backer number if you do it. If you're not listening, then don't worry about it. And we will check out on Muskeg, where the area where you're at. It's ground that stretches just south of the tundra, thousands of square miles of traveling and building on floating islands of moss. That sounds stable. Where's the house? It was here yesterday. Oh, it's over there now. It's only $10 for the standard edition. That's a deal. You get the digital with that.
Yeah. And I wish I had the copy with me, the promo copy, so I could hold it up. But one thing too that we mentioned it briefly in here, but we wanted to print it on really, really nice paper. So we didn't go with industry standard. We went with, I think it's 80 grade interior, and it's not 140. I forget the exact terminology. It's like 14 point or something like that for the cover. So it's like really
like
thick.
Stiff cardboard.
Yeah, yeah. So it feels really nice in your hands, and we want every comic we put out to feel like that. So obviously that increased printing costs. So the standard edition is the cover that's on the. You'll see it as in the middle if you scroll down too.
There's two editions here. Okay.
Oh yeah. So I know it's so weird. Over on the right there, they have the tiers, but then in the middle we actually have it listed out with like graphics. So.
My Kickstarter, blah blah blah.
This is actually the cover the cover variant for Kickstarter exclusive. So this is $25 and up, and this will never be printed again. This is the cover for the $25 tier and up, and it's only for Kickstarter orders. I still don't know if we're going to have the legendary Kickstarter event at the bottom of it, because we have both. I don't think we'll include that part on it, but tier 1, so right there, that digital picture, that's the standard cover, which
that's the standard cover. It's got that. I love the EC spine on it.
Oh yeah, if Joel was on here, he would talk about his love for the EC stuff. He has T-shirts. He made a throw pillow with the EC logo, the zombies. It's like his favorite cover of all time. He's obsessed. So he wanted some type of something to honor them on his cover. But so that's the standard cover. At this point, when he designed this cover, we were still hiding the design of the creatures. You'll see as you scroll down the second cover variant. Actually, this is pretty cool. This is something we added recently. We're only doing
2.5. This looks like it's glowing in the dark.
Yeah, so we're only doing 20 of these, and I think we've only sold 3 because we literally only added this a couple days ago. But Joel hand painted glow in the dark on the cover, so his signature and then some of the cover itself is glow in the dark. And we're going to number it 1 through 20. There's a spot inside the cover, on the inside cover, for our stamp. So we're going to number it 1 through 20 with the glow in the dark paint. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
you've got 4 backers on that one. 16 of those left, folks. If you're watching us on the replay for some reason before the next 11 hours are up. By the way, links to The Earth Trembles and Yule right below the video. Both of them. Click on both of them. It will take you to the campaigns directly there. And you can start backing right away. You don't have to wait till the show's over.
So I thought that was super cool. If I was, buying this and it wasn't my comic, I probably would go with that one, to be honest. It's just because if you're holding it without a blacklight, you don't even know, right? It looks like the normal cover. And then all of a sudden it's like.
And if you're like me, I'm reading comics in bed at night, and I'm like, oh, that was a good comic. Time to turn out the lights. Go. My comic is looking at me now. What is that glow coming from the nightstand?
Yeah. Tier 3, that's so you get that cover variant plus the digital, and then the trade card and stickers. Those aren't the actual images. That was just, we put that there so you understood how much you were getting. But I wish I had the sticker on me, but it's super cool. It's the Joel logo. I just called it Joel.
See?
It's the Yule logo with the LIVID logo right below it and some Christmas trees behind it, and it's got that holograph type look to it, so it's really cool. It's on vinyl.
This is the Oneaters all over again. Have you watched that movie, That Thing You Do?
Way back when, but that rang a bell, yes.
Yeah. No, it's the Wonders. We spell one out, O-N-E. They're like, the Oneaters are playing.
Man, I can't believe I just did that on a show. I called it the wrong name. My own book. That's terrible.
It's contagious.
Take 2.
Right.
You caught it from me.
Yeah. So tier 4, you're getting that cover variant, the digital, everything from before, and then you get the poster thrown in. Before I had this banner hanging, I have the poster behind that, and it's 16 by 20. It's a pretty cool poster there. So.
Now, since we were talking about the name, I'm going with the lettering and the umlaut and all that stuff. I'm guessing Yule's not from North America, or where's this story taking place at when it's not taking place in the North Pole?
Well, actually, initially it is. I mean, I guess we never really say that. His school name is on the first panel, but we never say where it is. But this was the logo Joel designed more for the Norwegian, Icelandic inspiration that we'll find later in the series. We've studied a lot of the folklore, and a lot of that's going to be included into the plot long term. So when he sent me that logo, I was sold. Thought it was pretty cool. But as far as the initial story when he's in his home, that is supposed to be in the U.S., but I guess we never really say that. So.
I've scrolled up to the top because you are now 5 backers away from 100.
Oh, look at that.
Very cool.
Robert Roberts did have to get involved. So this is what we call our shake and bake moment when this happens on our show.
It's shake and bake, and I help.
So thank you, Robert Roberts, for helping make this even more successful than it already has been.
Thank you.
This looks like a fun book. I love Christmas horror stories. We've had very few, but a couple of comic books on here that have been that have been Christmas and war and adventure. I'm trying to remember the one that was on here where the Battle for Planet Christmas, but I can't remember the exact title of it. And he's been on the show like 3 times pushing the book last year, and like once it came out,
he's screaming at his monitor right now. He's
yeah,
like,
sure
title.
Well, it's not like you could go get a back issue at your comic shop now. You have to wait till the next book comes out and Bric-a-Brac. Yeah, that was the title. Bric-a-Brac, the Battle for Planet Christmas.
That sounds right up my alley. Yeah,
I knew it would come to me.
When I was like thinking of the concept of this too, I was looking up. I'm like, is there anything like this out there? I can't think of it, and nothing really came up. So I was pretty happy with that. There was one Christmas comic series that I found that I was kind of actually interested in that I can't find it. I think it was called Klaus, and it was about the early years of Santa Claus, and he was like this warrior. Yeah, it looked super cool. So I felt like my story was safe. It didn't look like it would be copying anything.
Well, the interesting thing about Santa Claus is that he is a canonical resident of Oz.
That's right.
Because L. Frank Baum did The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, and It could have just been a standalone thing, but he placed him in one of the countries in the land of Oz when he was born. So it was like, yeah, he's an Ozian.
In our Wizard of Oz trading card set, we actually had cards based on that book as a goal. If it went higher than a certain amount, then we added like 6 cards to the set, and it was all based on the Santa Claus books.
My
awesome.
copy of it is the one that Michael Plug illustrated.
Oh wow!
So it's real gorgeous. Yes, Santa is from modern Turkey. Actually, no, not modern Turkey. I should know. I've worn the Santa suit enough times. I know this because I give Toastmasters speeches in it about Nicholas, and he's from Greece. I forget what the name of the town was now, but the original Saint Nicholas was from a town in Greece, and the legend sort of started because he was generous, but he wouldn't let people know he was given to them, and the man had 3 daughters, and they didn't have dowries to get married. If you didn't get married, then you had to go into jobs that were really bad on your back because that's where you stayed all the time. So he entered the house and he left a bag of gold and then he left, and he did that 2 daughters in a row as they reached age, and the father finally said, "I'm going to find out who's doing this." He locked the door and waited outside, and Nick knew the door was locked because the guy had said, "I've locked the door, so whoever's going to do this isn't going to get in." So Nick tied the bag of gold and he threw it down the chimney. He tied it up in a stocking and he threw it down the chimney. So that was how some of that legendary stuff took off. I used to know this stuff from front to back. I had this.
That's impressive to me. Some of this is new to me. So,
tier 6, good tier.
Yeah. So we've had a handful of backers on this one, where Joel's gonna give original signed sketches from. So I can't believe he's doing this. I feel like if I was the artist, it would be tough to part with this, but he's going to take sketches from his actual sketchbook of planning out, Yule and put them in. So, and he's going to sign it. So that's really cool. So
this is concept art.
Yeah. Because he drew everything digitally. It wasn't like he drew it analog and then, uploaded it for color. It's all done on his digital platform. So all of the sketches are concept art. Yeah. Because he designed all the characters. He would say, "Do you have any ideas for what you want them to look like?" And I would say something here or there, but most of the time I was like, "It's all you, buddy." So,
so this is, it's $150. I mean, original concept art goes a lot higher on a lot of other campaigns. And of course you get the LIVID shirt and hat. How'd you come up with the name for your company?
So it wasn't our first choice, and I can't remember what was, but we wanted something that had something that was tied to horror type, sounding name. So, and we wanted it to sound cool. Try to keep it 1 or 2 syllables. And we kept looking up names that we wanted, and they were taken for other companies. And when we came up with LIVID, he looked it up and he's like, "No, it's open." I'm like, "Awesome, let's do it. Let's come up with a logo."
Nail it down.
And I sent him an initial concept of the logo that I had in my head, which was terrible. It was kind of like the one we went with, but he sent me this one and I was sold. I love our logo. I think it's so cool. And I also love that he tied in on the bigger logo the eyeball there, because that's really one of the first panels he ever drew. It was that page in the book where there's eyeballs staring back out at Will. So it's just it'll be meaningful down the road if we ever become successful. So, yeah, tier 7.
Okay, $500. That's more like it.
So yeah,
book.
He would do a recreation of the pages in pencil on bristleboard. So he is willing to redraw the entire page out and sign it for this tier. We actually haven't had any backers on this one, but and I get it. It's not, $500 is a lot, but
sure. I mean, but I've seen people do it.
Yeah.
And again, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, different crowds for that back different things.
This one, so you see a lot of the campaigns do this, where they'll offer to put your face in the book, and they might be cheaper too. But our thought was, we're not trying to cheap out on someone. We're not going to put them in one panel or two panels. Like, they could be a face on a featured character in the series, not just one page, right? So that's why it's priced as high as it is, because like Joel says in these interviews, he's like, you'll last as long as John writes you. But the thought is that they could be a character that's in the majority of a book or the series even. So
yeah, I've seen people who like do superhero worlds kind of titles, and you can turn your character in, and your character may show up all the time as part of the team. So yeah, this is better. This is better than what I do with the Destroyer. I just find a friend and kill him in chapter 1. It's like, hey, you died this last book.
I mean, that's cool too. Don't get me wrong. I would love to do that, but the thought here is we wanted to have it a higher priced situation where they could be in it longer. But
they can be in there. It's only 5 issues. It wouldn't take much to survive that.
Well, like Joel has said, I mean, because our world, we picture potentially branching off for other stories with some of these other characters you'll be introduced to later on.
Oh,
in theory, they could really be a character for a long time.
So this is not just a 5-issue story you want to done. This is welcome to our world. This is one of the things that happened in it.
So this is the launch of the world. This term has gained a little steam in our Facebook group, the Yuleverse, moving forward. But this is a 5-story arc. So this will have a climax. This will have a conclusion at the end of issue 5. But when you think about how important that cube is, we just got another backer. Nice.
Way to go.
So when you think about what the cube is and how important it is, I mean, that has a history that we can tell. And because you can time travel, because you can go in different dimensions, I mean, there's so many characters we're going to meet in this series and we've made backstories for these characters, and they're very interesting. So in theory, they could have their own series.
That cube is going to be, I think, sort of like the sigil was for CrossGen, where it was appearing in all the different titles across all the different dimensions, and it connected everything.
Oh yeah.
So that cube takes you everywhere in the livid dimension.
That's honestly, I do have that in my head, and maybe not every comic we do, but a lot of them. Like I have other concepts for different stories, even more mature stories too, that might be more grown-up based, that tie to the Kasi and what it is. So I'm pretty excited to try to tie it all together. I don't want to, hurt the story to make it all fit, but I think.
Oh, yeah. And you got these big scaly monsters in here. You can do more adult things with big scaly, scary lizard-looking monsters, which is a segue, if I ever heard one, to talk more about the tiers with the Earth Trembles, which is the card set here for the dinosaurs. So your tiers have got some unique things in them, Rusty. And there's a ton of them. We'll go through as many as we can.
We tried to come up with some goals and rewards that would be appealing cross market, because like I said, I have a comic background, and I know cards will appeal to some of the collectors, so I tried to do that in reverse. There's a couple of really unique things. Like one of them is we have a secret retailer perk, which is something that I try to tell everybody that does a campaign. Go into your design board and make a secret perk just for the retailers or for resellers, and think of them as distributors. Drop your price down, do a bulk purchase with freebies and whatever.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of resellers and retailers that have been interested in that. The custom card thing is also very popular. We're doing 500 cards, and the person will get a majority of the cards, but random sets will have one of those cards in it. It could be their artwork, it could be a photo of their store, on and on and on. And the back will have information, and it will be numbered as if it's part of the set.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's different. It's a little different. I try to come up with something, a little different for each set. Like for this set, we did digital cards. So every one of the artists who did sketch cards, we turned one out of every one of their packs into digital cards. And they've been all over social media. And if you go to the update section of the campaign, all 26 digital cards are there, and more are going to be added this week.
It's really cool.
Okay, well, cool. Oh, I like that. I like that All-American Dinosaur.
And that retail package, I wish that, that's one thing we didn't end up going with that I regret, because I saw it on some, and then we talked about it. We just never did that tier. And I do regret not doing that, because
retailers always take the retail package on these things, because otherwise you're going to get them from Critical Blast Logistics. Yeah, we have a lot of companies, and you're going to pay more for them.
But my advice is, if you, like I say, always tell people it's just advice. But my advice is, when you do the reseller package or the retail package, make it a hidden perk. Don't make it something that the public can see. You're not trying to sell the retailer perk. You're trying to sell the PR of the retailer perk.
Yeah.
So you can actually talk to stores and talk to vendors and dealers, like at a show or whatever. You could make up a flyer and, cut it in fourths and hand it out to each vendor that you think might be interested. This link is just for you, and blah, 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 blah. And it works out really good, because they make a good, with ours, they make a good profit. The sets go for a distributor's half, and then they get free merchandise with it.
Now, Rusty, you mentioned the digital cards. Is that a tier, or is that just the things?
No, it's actually below that. I think you have to go a little down, and I think you have to click to see more.
Is it in the updates though?
Yeah, it's in the update section.
Okay.
So you have to go down probably a little bit. There they are. But each one is a different artist.
Okay, but I mean, these aren't things that you would like purchase as a tier. They're like, here they are.
These are absolutely free.
Well, there you go. You see, Robert was going to give you money. And
Albertosaurus.
Yeah.
You contribute, and I'll make sure you get one. How's that for a Jerry Lewis telethon moment where you sell yourself?
Now wait a second. Is there such a thing as an Albertosaurus, or is that I've got to Google it.
Yeah.
I should know this. My kid. This is what I keep making these jokes. Is all these shows that I end up going on, I'm gonna go broke, because I get sold on whoever's on the show with me. So I'm definitely gonna back this for my kid.
Imagine being the host of a show every night.
Yeah, the Albertosaurus is it looks like a combination of a T-Rex on a smaller scale. Picture like a T-Rex head with like a velociraptor body. And that's basically what a Albertosaurus is. So it very cool looking guy, like very ferocious looking guy. But yeah, there you go.
It's a very tiny version of it, but
well, I think the ones that I've seen mostly, they usually the concept art for it, they're like zebra striped. Most of the time you think of them as being like, when I told the artists about doing the dinosaurs, yeah, there you go. They have kind of like a reptilian or a zebra stripe. And basically, when I told the artists when they were doing the sketch cards, don't always think of dinosaurs as being green. Actually, dinosaurs in different periods had autumn colors. So you'll see a red dinosaur with like yellow, or you'll see a blue dinosaur with like white spots. On and on and on. And there are ways of detecting that, bone fragments will have, skin determinations built into them, and they can reverse engineer that.
Don't reverse engineer any genes out of
yes, I was just going to say, It's like gremlins, don't get them wet, that kind of thing. But
they're like the newts that are running around on my steps every time I walk out. It's like they're scattering away to get on my way. They're different colors, and they got blues and reds.
Right.
And
right. Well, that's the thing. You have to think of, a lot of them have like if you look at that picture, a lot of them have, the reptilian look to them. And if you think of where they've gone in their evolution, you can reverse it, in your own head. You can reverse engineer where the colors would come from. Now they're saying, I got a lot of heckling in the beginning when I put the set out, on Indiegogo, because a lot of them are saying, well, that's not accurate because they don't have feathers, and the Tyrannosaurus didn't have small arms; those were wings, and on and on and on. I've said, well, you were there, so you would know, right? And that was my standard answer. Fred and Barney were your neighbors, so you probably saw, a blue dinosaur. Was he smoking a pipe? That kind of thing.
Yeah, Dino was purple. Well, you have to create an Albertosaurus now, Rusty.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
So
there's one of the things that we did that was a little interesting for this is we decided to go outside of the trading card realm. So I know that there are fossil collectors, so that keyed in for the relic cards. I know that there are philatelists, stamp collectors. So the foreign dinosaur and fossil stamps are on some of the relic cards as well. The sketch cards are there for the art collectors. There's also the personally signed postcard that goes in the mail to people, which is nice because they get the canceled stamp on there. There's stickers. There's a coloring sticker for kids. We're giving away cards to the first 50 contributors, and then we're just about to announce that dinosaur toys are going to accompany every one of the contributors' set as well.
Oh my goodness!
So
now that's a big upgrade.
There's actually a lot. I don't want to toot my own horn, but there's a lot of cool stuff in this campaign, just as there's a lot of cool stuff in the Yule campaign. See, I got it right.
You got it right.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to call shenanigans here. I don't think Charizard was a dinosaur.
Yeah, well, actually, it's funny that came about. I actually did that piece of artwork. I was a guest at Wizard shows for about 7 years as an artist, and I did a bunch of the podcast thing, and I did their television thing, and I did their panels, for the Marvel movies that I worked on, whatever. And that was actually part of a larger piece of artwork that was given away as people came in the door. Everyone got it in their bag. So I did a card set for somebody, and I went into Photoshop and I cut out just that piece because it was a giant piece. And those were stickers that were given away in that set. So the publisher was nice enough to send me samples, which was very cool. So I decided to throw them in the campaign. And one thing that I haven't really advertised to anybody, it might not be the best thing in the world to say, but all this stuff is already printed. So if any of this stuff doesn't survive the campaign, it's randomly going in people's pouches. So if you didn't order the stickers, you might get a full set. If you didn't order the sketch cover, it might be there. And those sketch covers are like $150 sketch covers. We're just dumping them in, like the wooden cards. Those are laser cut wooden cards, and there's only 10 of them. If nobody orders the full amount, like if all 10 isn't gone, they're getting randomly put in people's pouches.
Wow, that's gonna be amazing. These laser cut wooden card. I'm just impressed as hell with the tooth one. I mean, like they're not making those anymore.
Right.
So.
And these are authentic. They have a sticker on the back. They come basically with a certificate of authenticity. But the funny thing is, and I don't want to make it sound like a like I'm bragging or anything, and I because it's really just an idea. We all have good ideas, and we throw them into the pot and hope they make a good soup. In this case, we actually went to a fossil dealer. And these cards, normally what happens is, let's say you get a baseball card set. There's 600, 700 cards in the set, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then there's one card. It's usually numbered like, B1 or A1. And it's like a piece of a ball. And it's signed by the player, or it's a special hologram card or whatever. We decided to kick that idea. There's no inserts with our sets, no specials. The card with the relic in there, either the tooth or the stamp, is actually one of the numbered cards in the set. So you can't break apart your set to sell a special card on eBay. Your set becomes 100% unique. So if 100 baseball collectors go out and buy a set, and they have all, let's say, 700 cards, well, everybody's got the same thing.
Yeah.
But in this case, every single set is unique, because it might be a different tooth on your card to the next guy's card, or there's no duplicate stamps. Some of these stamps go back to the 50s. So they may be getting like when we did our superhero set, somebody got a Captain America cover, somebody got an Iron Man cover, someone got a Superman cover from the 40s. It could be, they're all unique. And the sketch cards are numbered as well. So your set might have my artwork on it. It might have someone else's artwork on it. Some of the cards even have two people doing artwork on the same card.
This is the most unusual set of cards I've ever seen, because like you said, it's if you ever bought a set of baseball cards and the other person collected the same set, they've got 1 through 700, you've got 1 through 700, you've got the same set.
Right.
Your set is going to be your set.
And it's growing with the card, with the goals too. One of the next goals is, once it passes a certain amount, we add 3 more cards. That's what we did with the Wizard of Oz set. It was supposed to be a 9-card set. It wound up being 40 cards.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm gonna refresh it here, because we were at 1567. Kickstarter auto refreshes. This one doesn't. We're still at 15. It'll catch up.
Indiegogo is I will say it's a little slow, but
they got to make sure the money's actually there before they do it.
And that's the funny thing about when not to get into the background of it too much, but when Kickstarter first started, you had to actually go through Amazon or Walmart to make donations. You couldn't, or contributions. You couldn't actually just put your credit card in. You had to go to, like, let's say Amazon or Walmart.com, and you actually had to go through their purchase platform. And Indiegogo was a little odd in the beginning too. Then it changed, and then another one changed, and then they all caught up. The only thing I don't like about Indiegogo, even though I prefer it, is they stopped your ability to use PayPal.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can't use PayPal for eBay anymore, and you can't use PayPal for Indiegogo.
Well, I use my PayPal debit card whenever I do that, so
I thought about doing that too. They won't let you do it anymore either.
What?
Yeah, they changed a lot. Everything has changed so drastically. I don't know what it was, but PayPal and eBay were different companies. eBay and PayPal were together, and then all of a sudden they split again.
Well, I mean, my PayPal debit card is just a Visa. As far as I know, it's just a Visa number.
I got the same one.
Well,
I've had the PayPal one for like 10 years, and half to 3/4 of the time they won't do it. Same thing with IMDb. I have an IMDb professional account because I have all the movie credits and TV credits up there. And when I go to renew it, it takes me like 10, 15 times before they accept it.
Oh, geez.
Well, they're an Amazon company now. They're an Amazon company now, so.
Oh, okay. That's why I can watch Leverage, the new season on IMDb TV. for free. And folks for who are listening, who are hearing, Rusty throw out, Marvel movies and television shows. All the art you see in a movie that passes you by, like all the logos for different organizations and posters that you see, that's Rusty's area of expertise. If I'm getting that correctly, Rusty.
Yeah, it's basically production art, is what it is. It could be something for props. It could be a poster, or like a wanted poster, or on the wall, a family photo on the desk. Anything that's, it could be wallpaper, special wallpaper. I did one time. Sometimes I do art for the costume department, which is good. For the Spider-Man 2 and 3 movie, the Tobey Maguire films, we drew pictures of Spider-Man and Venom and some of the other characters in different poses, because they needed to know he wasn't a football player like a Captain America bruiser rushing in. He was more of an ice skater or a ballet dancer. He was very fluid in his movement. So we actually had to draw like the old-fashioned Arthur Murray dancing, plotting where the feet would go and how fluid it was, and on and on and on. So. All
right. Well, I think that's going to cover us both. Robert, he's going to get paid so he can get the full digital copy of the Dinosaur cards. There is no digital copy of the Dinosaur cards. It's always a physical copy. So be aware of that. I'm not trying to talk you out of buying them. By all means do that, but don't be expecting that they're going to be digital cards. I
always tell people, every time you look at a campaign, explore all the options, read every single thing all the way through. It actually makes for better sales. It does. I've had a couple of people in past campaigns. You think that, well, they're collectors. They know what you mean by this. They know what you mean by that. No, like a past editor told me one time, always write something as if somebody's reading it for the first time. Spell everything out. Don't assume anything.
That's the shooter rule.
Right. It's best to just explore the whole thing. And I don't hold it. I mean, I would love to make $1 million on a campaign, but I want the fans to be happy with what they get. And so far with our past sets, we've had great luck. My comic book about the Symbol, which is a patriotic superhero, went very high as well. And we also got contributions that were off platform. So even though it showed it was 300, we really went to about 850% over. And that was a 64-page book. And we had variant covers and we had original art. We gave away the actual pages and, everything, that you would do with a comic with a comic like a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo, But we made sure that everybody knew everything because we get a lot of foreign buyers.
Yeah.
So, and how do you explain a chicken nugget to someone, let's say in Africa? How do you explain, something that's in Denmark to an American? There's always a language barrier or a definition barrier, and you got to push that a little bit. Like, for example, the name of John's book and where it takes place and the pronunciation. I would have never known that's how it was pronounced.
Nobody would. Yeah.
Well, that's the great thing about it, though. That's trivia. That's something that sells for you.
Yeah.
So,
And it's cool to learn something new from something.
You're an insider when you learn something new. It's not just the inside joke. It's like you're part of the club,
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for being available at the last minute here and making sure we had a show. We've gone over our 1 hour we normally talk. John, is there anything about Yule that we have not discussed that you want to make sure people know about in the 11 hours they have left?
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to touch on the stretch goals because if you're backing $25 or higher, the amount of stuff you're getting is just insane. And I don't know if maybe we shouldn't have done every $500 for a new stretch goal, or maybe we should have done 1,000. I don't know, but so if you do the $25 or higher, you're getting. We didn't even show the third cover, but there's a horizontal cover variant that Joel drew. That if you do the $25 and up, you're getting that cover thrown in. So you're getting your cover plus a second book with the horizontal cover.
Ooh, nice.
So
That's
and then
wonderful.
it's only for Kickstarter. We're never going to print this again. There won't be a second print of that cover either. So the sleigh cover that you saw there, and then the horizontal cover. If you do the $25 tier, you get both of those, and they'll never be reprinted. But
Is
you're
the
also
horizontal cover here available to see, or is that?
yeah. It should be down under $3,000 stretch goal.
Okay.
So it's
Under the yo-yo, which I'm waiting for information on the yo-yo. We're getting it's a ghostly white yo-yo.
Yeah, so that was all Joel's idea. I give him credit there, but the thought is this is geared towards family, so kids too, and kids love yo-yos. Both of my kids and his kids were like so pumped when we told them about that, and
an air freshener.
yeah, the black ice. So that image, by the way, is also the trade card image that you see there.
I see. Yeah.
And most of those characters you don't see in book one. That's kind of a teaser to book two. The majority of those characters. But so if you do $25 and up, you're getting the trade card, the sticker, the horizontal cover, the poker chip with LIVID comic logo on it, the bookmark, which we didn't even put on there. I forgot, so that was dumb. But the bookmark is awesome, and I'd have to pull it up. I don't have it in front of me. But
so John, Matt Krotz has a campaign where he's doing Wild Tales of Kyrie, continuation of his series, and he has this little decoder ring kind of thing where it's like you have to put the right code in to be able to open it up and pull the slip of paper out. But then he's going to send coded messages in future campaigns, and if you were one of the people who got this decoder ring on this campaign, you'll know what to do with future campaigns to open up secret perks and such in the future.
That's wonderful.
That's awesome.
3D printed. And the reason I bring that up is work with me, mouse. Right here on your this will work a lot better if I share the picture. I'm sitting here scrolling down all this time and I'm not even sharing screen. You need to 3D print this sucker.
Oh, you have no idea how bad I want to do. I've been trying to look for metal artists to like make one of the cubes for our con table.
I have a metal artist for you.
Oh, awesome! We'll have to talk offline.
Phoenix Animation.
Okay. I badly want something on our con table that looks like this. But Joel and I were talking the other day, and it's probably too late for this campaign unless we delay shipping, unfortunately. But we didn't end up putting a $4,000 stretch goal in there because we didn't think there was enough time to hit it, but we might actually hit that. So we might put a surprise $4,000 stretch goal in. But one of the things we were looking at were customized Rubik's Cubes where we can do the sacred geometry because there are times in the series where the cube will do some shifting and so forth. So I thought it would be really cool to do that too. So
you need to get with Rusty, find out who did the wood engraved cards, have them do wood engraved squares of the sacred geometry, and then put that together with an LED light inside.
That's exactly. I wanted the green light. In a perfect world, I'd have a smoke machine around so you'd really see the green light shooting out. But I don't think the con will let me have a smoke machine set up. But yeah,
you could definitely have like where the eye hole is could just be like a little click button, and it would just when you press it, that turns on the green LED, and all the things.
You're speaking my language. We definitely
this is what I do. I spend other people's money, John.
Yeah,
it's my superpower.
Because this thing is really the most important thing in this whole series, right? Is this cube? So it needs to be featured more on our table and in the perks. So
you can make a wooden one for a lesser tier, and then a metal one for the people who are going to be hardcore. Get some metal artwork done.
You could also get some Rubik's cubes and have that pattern cut into a sticker and have it cut into 9 and put it on it like it's a the Rubik's Cube as stickers.
Sure.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, that was the idea, was having the Rubik's
Yeah.
Cube with brown stickers and then have those geometry symbols on each side. So
Yeah.
that it was, so it was like that. So that was what we were playing around with the other day. And whether it's for this campaign or not, we're absolutely doing that. I would love to have those little Rubik's Cube keychains to hand out to kids at our Comic-Con too. Just give them away even,
Right.
But yeah, that's, I like where your guys' heads are at.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I'm going to take the screen down again because I think we covered it. So very cool stretch goals. John, Rusty, thank you both so much for coming on the show tonight. We do appreciate it. Folks in the chat who are watching, and if you're watching on the replay, and this Kickstarter is still up, hurry because it's about to go down. Both the links are below in the description. So you can get out there and get your copy of Yule #1, or you can go out and get your copy of the Earth Trembles Dinosaur Trading Card Set. Get them both. None of these things are unreasonably priced. So you could definitely get, insert Road to El Dorado both GIF here. And just imagine it in your head, just like I just put it up there. And as always, we thank you for coming. We don't have a show without you, and we just hope you had a blast. Good night.